and they're off. Here we go.
Further Faster, the best independently owned outdoor store in the known universe. Whether you're out on a climbing, paddling, tramping or running adventure, look no further than Further Faster for all your gear and expertise needs. Over the summer, it's getting hot. It's going to be epic. Head over to 57A Buchan Street in Sydenham, Otutahi, Christchurch, or hit them up at www.furtherfaster.co.nz.
Further faster, they're in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious. Go to Further Faster now.
Oh, further faster, they're in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious. Go to Further Faster now.
Dirt Church Radio.
Episode 293 of the Dirt Church Radio Trail and Ultra Marathon podcast. I'm Matt Raymond.
And I am Eugene Bingham. Tēnā koutou katoa. No mai, hoki mai. Back to the car park.
Yeah, two dudes living in just one car.
Yeah. Nice.
Is that the worst sitcom ever?
It is. Good sound though.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You tell us. dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. How you going, Matt Raymond?
Yeah, I'm well. I am remarkably well. And we'll get into it through the course of our discussion today, but sticking to strictly kind of running and updates regarding running, training feels like it's going into full campaign mode now. So yeah, just ramping up distance, ramping up all the other stuff around that, strength work, trying to maximize, listen to me, trying to maximize recovery, all that stuff. So remarkably well.
When you say ramping up distance, what do you mean?
Well,
what are you up to? What you up to?
What am I up to? Because I don't want to jump up too hard, so I'm just nudging. I'm nudging about 90 a week at the moment.
Good one.
So I will be hitting
Very
that
good.
Today, and looking to kind of just be. Had a good talk to Adam, and go back, listen to the discussion that Eugene and I had last proper Dirt Church Radio, and then also the discussion that we had with Ali and Kerry from Squadron around that sort of consistency, and I had a good talk to Adam Keane, who's my coach, around that, talking about what the longer kind of missions or longer kind of events look like. We've got anything coming up, and we talked about that thing, just as you very wisely said, avoiding the dragon's back, so to speak.
Yeah, no, that's the goal, isn't it? That's the goal.
And yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I've been doing heaps of swimming, bit of riding, and calf raising like there's no tomorrow. So yeah, it's going great.
You got a number? Are you going like the full Norwegian protocol where they like do 11 million a day, like that sort of style? Because there's that Norwegian protocol, I can't remember, some protocol, some guy from either Norway, Sweden or Finland, and there's a calf raise protocol.
No, my physio's not from Norway.
Right.
I need to talk to them. Or do I need to change?
I
Start going to Oslo?
Well, I'm not a physio.
No, hang on. Where'd you say? Norway? Yeah.
Wherever.
Yeah. Okay. No.
So a decent amount. It's not like...
Oh, no, I'm doing a variety of exercises, actually.
Right.
So it's not just about the calf raises. I jest. Ha, ha, ha. So it's I'm on a rehab program. So it's good. It's going good. And yeah, swimming's going well. Done some cold water swims.
Define cold.
No wetsuit in the sea.
Right.
Yeah. With Tom.
Yep.
And a couple of other our friends, which has been bracing. But Tom's off doing Tour de Champs.
Yeah.
Yeah, TDG. He's probably running right now, actually. The race you measure in a calendar, not with your watch. Holy hecker.
And if we think about it, if we're, with full disclosure, Tour de Champs is the half marathon of the two events offered. Not half marathon, because there's the 450 kilometre Tour de Glacier.
Yeah.
Which no one ever talks about.
No.
Because it just looks too difficult.
Yeah, it looks crazy.
Yeah.
It looks crazy. What's that other... There's another event associated with UTMB that's a 3-person event.
Yes, I can't remember the acronym. But this is the thing, isn't it? There's these long standing. It's
There's
interesting.
always something longer.
It's always something longer.
There is. How was the Firies Climb? What'd you get up to on your holidays, Matt?
Well, to quote Dave Stewart, it was unseasonably warm in Katoomba, and we took all of our cold weather gear and used none of our cold weather gear. So, loved being part of the Firies Climb. I didn't understand the history of it, the amount of money that they'd raised, and the Australia's such a bigger place. So talking to Matt Pridham, the organizer of the Firies Climb that sort of got put the kibosh on by COVID, it was a massive event, and it's got it's got
That was was that the OG?
that was the OG stuff when they were climbing up towers and what
Yeah.
they call their turnout gear. But big future in the new format, and there's it's going to be a bigger event next year. There's people from there's crews from Melbourne reaching out and everything, so it is looking like it's going to be bigger. And as of recording, they've raised $63,000 dues for a cure into MND, which is incredible. And also, if you go back and listen to the live show that we recorded, it's just the start of what's needed. And I heartily recommend that you go back and listen to that live show. It's so interesting that Professor Rowe talked about the fact that MND is sort of sold as a rare disorder, but then he went and sort of he dispelled those myths with some stats. And I've met 2 people in the last week randomly who have parents or parents of partners who have MND, and that's independently of the Firies. So it's not it's not as rare illness as it's made out to be. Being in the mountains outside of Ultra Trail Australia was really great too. I mean, I love that event, and it was awesome to meet the locals properly. You see faces and you see people, but actually getting to spend some time hanging out. There's some real characters. There was this guy, his name was Jock. He was 81 years old, and he did 20 laps of the Furber Stairs, which is, that's a marathon. He was going to turn up and do some on one day and then go some on the next day and then go play golf, but he decided that he was going to get it all out of the way because he was dirty. And to quote Rob from Summit, he's got legs like Wolfie's ropes, which is and
Nice.
Just getting to be part of not be part of, but like that deep sort of running club culture that's existed. So that was really, really cool. Getting out, we got out on the Saturday after the event finished. We drove down into the Megalong Valley, Rebecca and I, and went out onto the 6-foot track.
Famous.
Famous 6-foot track. Not for very long because unfortunately Rebecca sprained her ankle, but being able to
How is she?
sore, limpy. But being able to visualize what people are talking about when they mention part of the UTA course that you kind of stuck on the event base, it was incredible. But yeah, I mean, it was fantastic.
So when Dave says unseasonably warm, what was it?
So it was in the 20s,
Nice.
although with so bluebird days, very, very cold wind coming through.
Yeah.
But very, very warm. And like we came back on the Friday night to run some laps, and sort of, you got your arm warmers on. I'd taken them off by the 300-400 meters into the first descent and wrapped them around a cone because it was hot.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Yeah.
And you did 11 ups and downs?
11 ups and downs.
Cool.
Yeah. It's I mean, the first time, I remember a feeling of utter terror the first time I went up the stairs with you and Devon, and just like, this is so hard and this is but it is absolutely, and it is very, very hard, but very, very fun. Much more fun than I thought it would be, and felt much more achievable than I thought it would be. So,
And how was it having that many people on what is not, in places, a very wide track?
No, it was okay. There was a couple of bottlenecks.
Yes.
But people there was sort of an established etiquette in that if you were kind of having a good time and sort of like trudging up, you would stop for the people coming down. If both people on the climb were trying to do a hot lap or trying to do anything like that, then you would sort of nudge past mutually. So it was cool. There wasn't any sort of trail raru or anything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Oh, that sounds excellent.
Yeah, it was excellent. It was obviously would have loved to have had you there.
Would have loved to have been there.
And so
Cool.
there we go.
There we go.
And you'll hear more about that
Yes.
later. But look, should talk about Jenny Hurst.
Yeah, well, she had her fundraiser, 60 for 60. And in fact, she was aiming to raise $4,000. And on the live show that we did with Ellie and Kerry, Ellie sort of threw it out there. Why isn't she up there? Go for 6,000. Or she smashed on through that. She's sitting on about 7.5, and it seemed like she had half of Auckland out there running with her yesterday.
Yeah.
There was a huge gang out on the trails with her. So Jenny Hurst, you're a wahine toa. You set the standard for so many people. You look after so many people. You're a weapon as well. And you've gone and blink and done the thing that you set out to do. Rā whānau, ki a koe e hoa. And thank you for being you.
Greatest run ever.
Greatest run ever.
Greatest run ever, brought to you by Squad Run. Give their 4-week special coaching trial a go. You can find the link on the website, which is dirtchurchradio.com. This is part of the show where we ask you to write into us and give us your greatest run ever. It doesn't have to be a race or a mountain summit. It might just be a run around the block, something that's sung to you for some reason. Send them in to us at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. And this is from Sarah Bauer. She writes, sometimes it's the people who make a run extra special. Sometimes it's the environment or simply the feeling of pushing your limits. Luckily, in my case, it was all of these together. Back in March 2020, just before the COVID lockdown, the Ring of Fire race around Mount Ruapehu had been cancelled. Despite this, I decided to run parts of the course anyway, since I'd been so excited to do this race. Together with friends, I headed to Tongariro National Park to enjoy our last days of relative freedom. At the base of Mount Whangārei, I bumped into a random runner who I've since went on to breathtaking mountain adventures with. Both a bit nuts about volcanoes and mountain peaks. This was a good fit. This year, in July 2024, we planned to run up Mount Etna in Sicily. With a volume of about 350 cubic kilometres and an area of around 1,200 square kilometres, Etna is Europe's largest volcano and also the most active. Our plan was to head up the main crater at 3,340 metres. We were aware of the volcano's activity and occasional eruptions, but what were the chances of anything significant happening when we were in the area? Turns out, high. Shortly before our departure, we checked again.
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Lava and ash were spewing just 2 days before our arrival in Catania. At times, even the airport was closed. We were excited, but we knew we had to adjust our plans. Initially, we drove our car to about 2,000 metres altitude, which was manageable despite the recent volcanic activity. When we arrived, apart from a gas cloud, the mountain had gone quiet again. We set up camp to spend the night on the volcano. Then, at 2 a.m, it happened. Looking at the main crater, we saw lava fountains shooting hundreds of metres into the air. It was an unbelievable sight. We quickly packed up to get closer to the spectacle. Just on a side note, Etna is a relatively, and this is in quotes, friendly volcano, as its eruptions, whilst impressive, are somewhat predictable due to its continuous activity and very close monitoring. We were aware of the risks and prepared with a mask, helmet, and other safety gear. The beauty of this experience was yet overwhelming. With a mix of fascination, awe, and caution, we eventually climbed to 2,850 metres and couldn't take our eyes off the scene. We had the whole world to ourselves, with the night sky glowing red from leaping lava and firebombs, transitioning to a quieter, vivid glow by morning. We opted for a bit more safety and distance by then, settling comfortably with a 2-day-old croissant on a cool lava rock to have breakfast. Still in disbelief about what we'd witnessed, still watching the ash plume that was rising about 4K into the air, we could hear the mountain rumbling while looking down at the city of Catania, and that was slowly waking up. So much had happened in the last 3 to 4 hours when everyone seemed to be fast asleep. Our minds were rushing like speed trains. We were so grateful to share this experience that had somehow started on New Zealand's Central Plateau volcanoes a few years ago. By the way, Etna's main peak has now risen to 3,369 metres due to this eruption, and the eruptive episode is still ongoing. Let's see where our next adventure takes us.
Wow. Like, we've had heaps of animal encounters on Greatest One Ever. Dolphins, whales, seals, dogs, etc., etc. We've never had a volcano like
No,
that.
that's our first.
Not an erupting volcano. We've had people doing the Central North Island volcanoes, for instance, and their greatest runners ever, but never actually being on an erupting volcano. That is absolutely epic. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sending it in. Wow, amazing. The rest of you, yeah, that's some safety gear you have to carry, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You've got to carry a helmet. Woof. Anyway, the rest of you, send them in to us, dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. And thanks again to Squad Run.
Right. So look, let's crack on and get to today's kind of recordings and discussions. So where we are. So first up, you'll hear Ben Berryman give an acknowledgement to country prior to the event starting. Then you'll hear a bit from myself, Ali and Rebecca after our first lap of the stairs. We catch up with Jane Simpson of the Talk MND podcast and Disco Dave, who was emceeing the event. My plan was to take some audio on the stairs, and whilst we were climbing, and that was foiled by the fact that both it was super hard and it was super exciting. So the next thing you'll hear from us is the next day when Ali and I catch up about what the first day of the climb was like and what we've been up to the next morning. You'll hear from Nick, an absolute legend, about his first marathon on the Furber stairs, and as a visual aid, I was there when he ticked it over, and it was very hard-earned. And then I spoke to Caitlin and Courtney Danier, who are identical twins, firefighters, and absolute legends who drove an hour from the coast to be part of the event. You'll hear Ali's chat with Fionn, who was the youngest competitor at the event, and then we close it out talking to Matt Pridham, who was the original organiser, and Gavin Clifton, who is the new organiser, about what the event means to them and their hopes for the future.
We would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we are here today, the Whangārei and Darug people, this shared land, that space where those two communities would come together all the time. In my role, I work in education, and I have the great pleasure in a number of the schools that I've worked in over time of working with some incredible local Aboriginal communities. And in that context, I just want to share a short story that at one point in time, I was shared an incredible piece of artwork. It was provided to me to have a look at, a digital copy of that. And that artwork was this fabulous tree, which is quite representative of the mountains in which we're going to spend our time travelling today. And it's a glorious painting. And the story is that I'm incredibly sorry to say that when that was shown to me, it was shown to me with an incredible story behind the picture. And I'm almost ashamed to say I can't remember the story behind that picture. But I talk about that because that's why the acknowledgement is so important. It's because we need to make sure we don't lose the story, which is why it's important that we pay respects to our Aboriginal friends and families that we work with, that we acknowledge that they are the carriers of the histories, the culture and the language, and we can't afford to let that be lost. So as you're moving through the country today, I'll be thinking of Uncle Dave and the stories he tells. I've not once heard him talk, or I've not walked away having learnt something new. And I ask you to remember, as you move through that land, to remember that underneath the asphalt on concrete or the stairs, in our case, that this land was, and always will be traditional Aboriginal land. Thank you.
All right, here we are, top of the Furber stairs, first lap. Ali Pottinger, how was that?
Good, although I just looked at my average pace for the down and back up. What do you reckon it was, Matt?
I don't know. Who knows?
15 minutes, 15 seconds per K.
Well, I was glued to you, so yeah, that would be it. Rebecca, how was that?
It was. I think I've nailed my one loop in 24 hours. Woo!
All right, shall we? Dave Stewart, Jane Simpson. What's it like? Jane, you were here last night. It was a heavy affair. It was a powerful affair. How's the vibe today?
The vibe today is pumping. Everyone's happy, excited. Frankly, I think they're the lunatics, but they're smiling as they're running down the hill and running up that hill.
There's no running. I
saw some.
Yeah, from there though.
Oh, they're showing off.
Yeah. Look, Disco Dave, Mayor of the Blue Mountains, how are you finding things?
Oh, mate, it's just awesome to be part of this event and see it grow from last year. My highlight's already seeing Ali come back up and hug a hydrant as the significant thing to do when you get to the top of Furber stairs. So go and do another lap and we'll see you hug a hydrant when you come back up.
We'll hug that hydrant, all right? Well, I'll just start this off and calling back to a Another podcast, Ellie Pottinger's just gone straight up to Dave, rounded it up to 4K. How are you feeling?
Great now.
And that wasn't for those who harked back to the podcast with Ellie Pottinger and Kerry Suter, they're talking about rounding up. That wasn't a term of art. They just did a lap of the scenic world. What is this? Atrium, lobby? So we're outside Scenic World. We're at the top of the further stairs. It's day 2 of the Firies Climb on the further stairs for MND. How are you feeling?
Invigorated and grateful, actually. Like, I've just done another rep of Furber, and I was following these teenagers with little teal caps on that have MND, and we were going behind Professor Dominic Rowe, and I said, how do you guys know Dominic? And they said, Mum's got MND, and that just got me, Yeah.
Yeah, it's that thing, isn't it? It's putting it into... It puts it into stark relief. We're like, we're running up and down stairs, and we're doing all this, but there are people here with an illness that's dead set, more than likely going to end their life, despite the work that Dominic Rowe and his team's doing. But incredible, isn't it, that there's people been going right through the night. I was just up on the stairs with a lad who's just ticked over 42k, first time he's ever done a marathon ever, longest run ever, and he did it. And it clicked over on one of the metal ladders on the Furber, and he was screaming his head off. It was epic.
What a disgusting first marathon. Everything else will feel much easier, surely, in comparison.
That's what I said. He started at 6 o'clock last night and he just went through. So, you got any more in you today?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, there's the KITZ Climb. I think we'll see how we go for time. I don't know if I've got any time left before it finishes, but what do you think, Matt?
I'm at that point where I'm like, I'll say yes to anything. So I'm super happy. I've enjoyed every single step of this. And last night, we have to talk about the great Spider Gate of 2024. That was quite the thing, wasn't it? Yeah.
So I'm climbing down the stairs, almost at the bottom, and I see this guy, and he's like, "Oh, you've been away," and I was like, "Yeah, I went away and had a shower and had some dinner." And then the ladies behind him were like, "Oh, shower." And then they were like, watch out, Ali, there's lots of funnel webs on the stairs, so just be careful. And I thought, are they just winding me up because I've just told them I've had a shower, and they're really annoyed? And then I went a bit further, and then I saw Paul Whangārei, and he said, Ali, just be careful. There's quite a number of funnel webs on the stairs, and they seem pretty, dopey at the moment, but just be careful. And I thought they're just winding the Kiwis up. They've got together and they're just going to give us a bit of grief. And then I take another step and I just see this big spider smack bang on the step in front of me. And then the whole way up, there was about 7 of them. And I actually got a PR up Furber stairs, which, thanks, spiders.
Tara gave you wings. And for those who don't understand, much like I didn't understand, funnel web if 0 is not very poisonous and 10 is super could kill a wombat with one bite, a funnel web is at about a 12. Yeah. I understand.
Yeah, Australia's most deadly spider. Yeah.
And you got to think that's a tightly contested field, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. We were just jumping over them,
I mean, I ripped down. I was like, because Rebecca was with us, and she was like, hard no, actually. No, I'm not going to do that. I care not for funnel webs. So I turned around, came back up. I ripped down to the bottom. I was like, we'll see how we go. And then came back up, and I was like, there's a couple of little guys kicking around. And then Dave and I did another lap, and it's the same thing. Then Dave and I did the last lap together, and coming back up, I was like, Dave, look at that spider. And he was like, crikey. Maybe his atavistic Steve Irwin came out of him. And, but yeah, big funnel webs on the stairs. So, and it's that thing, isn't it? As a Kiwi, you go like, oh, there's a spider. Okay, it's quite a big spider. It doesn't I don't have that inbred survival instinct. Do you see a funnel web, you burn your house down,
No, yeah, I'm the same, Matt, but now I'm a bit like, actually maybe I should be a bit careful around them because they're pretty serious.
Absolutely right. We should kick on because there's a fair cool group of people here. So we should catch up with some of these legends that have been on the further stairs all night and see what we get up to. So, who am I talking to? What's your name?
My name's Nick.
And where are you from?
Wentworth Falls. So
right.
Local.
Okay, yeah. Cool. We're staying in Wentworth Falls. It's
nice.
Pretty rad.
It is lovely.
Everyone at some point in their running career runs the furthest they've ever run, or they knock off a goal, be it a 10k, 5k, marathon, whatever. You, sir, have done something pretty special today. Do you want to share what you've done?
I ran a marathon.
How many
times? Ever marathon.
And tell me where you ran that marathon.
On Further Stairs at Scenic World in Katoomba.
Starting at 6 o'clock last night.
Yes. Yep. Started at 6 o'clock last night, and I've just ticked over to 42.39 kilometres at whatever time it is now. I don't know because I haven't slept.
Yeah, I don't know either. I've paused my watch too. I had the pleasure of being just behind you on one of the ladders when you ticked over. What was that feeling like?
A little bit surreal, I think, because I'm a little bit tired, so very delirious. But, huge effort, and I couldn't have done it without my friends and support crew who are here running all night. They started at midday yesterday, so they've actually gone above and beyond what I did. But, 42 Ks or a marathon is still a huge achievement for me, especially because the furthest I've run before that is a half marathon. So, yeah, it was good.
And that wasn't on the further stairs?
No, it was not. No, it was not.
And I guess people know these stairs, or they're famous at the UTA, but you're basically going one for one, aren't you? Every K it's about, 100 metres of vert. So you would have been over, so what are you on now, vert-wise? Yeah, right. It's a lot. It's a lot.
There's a lot of stairs. My legs hurt a lot. Yeah, my legs are killing me. But that's fine. It was worth it.
And were you involved with were you raising money for the MND charity?
Yep. We're in a run club called Run Forever, and we've been raising money, and the majority of us have run, well, some people have run 30 laps, some people have run 20, some have run as little as 2, but, we're all out here doing it for MND, and I'm going to go and run my 20th lap in about 5 minutes when I finish this drink and finish this interview. I'm going to go run my 20th lap, so...
Excellent. Well done, man. It's been such a pleasure, and it was really cool to be out there with you when you ticked over your marathon. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, I'm here with
Courtney and Caitlin.
And what brings you to the Blue Mountains?
We got the M&D stair climb. Yeah, fundraiser event. We come out to these events as much as we can to raise that awareness and funds for motor neuron disease.
And you work, you're firefighters?
Yes, we are. Yep.
And sisters?
Twins. Yep. Identical.
It's really hard. We've been like, are they twins? Are they identical? It sort of plays a trick on you, hey? And we don't want to assume, but yeah, you do look identical.
Yeah.
Sorry.
With our red eyes and
Why do you have red eyes? How long have you been going for?
24 hours. 24 hours. Yeah.
And how was that?
It was tougher than I thought, actually. Yeah, it was an experience. We've never done anything like this before, and we thought, why not do it with each other? And we both managed to keep each other in the fight to, push
when
through.
When she hit her low, I was at my high, and then when I was at my high, she was at her low. So, we kept going, which is good.
How many laps did you knock out?
We ended up doing 20. Wow. We would have probably been satisfied with 19, but we got, my mum and dad here who was like, nah, you're doing the 20. It sounds better.
Peer pressure.
Oh, a lot of peer pressure. I was going to cry, but I was done 2 laps before that, but I'm stoked to hit 20 laps.
But there's been a lot of local guys here going up and down most of the night too, who was hitting pretty high numbers too, so they kept us
very
inspired.
Impressed.
Very impressed.
Yeah, the there's something about the Blue Mountains. It attracts a certain type of person who lives here, and there's some, I mean, you would have seen people coming down multiple stairs at the same time, just the rate of knots, so it's incredible.
Yeah, just jogging past us and then lapping us, and I mean, we're from the coast, there's no mountains there, so it's a different backyard to ours, and we wouldn't normally do this type of training, so you can tell that they have done this before numerous times, but it's sort of inspired us to maybe come out here again and give it another go.
So twins. I mean, who did you join the fire service at the same time, or did one go in first, or what was that?
Courtney was in the recruitment just before me, but we actually graduated within the same year. But yeah, Courtney,
Like 6 months apart, I think it was. Yeah, I let her know about it now. Senior man.
Courtney outranks me, unfortunately.
It's a little bit of bragging rights there. Are you the and are you the only set of twins in the fire service in Australia?
No, we're not actually. There's twin boys.
There's one at my station, Phil and Dom. They're two twins from down our way as well, who we know, and Hugh and George.
In the city, I think.
Yeah, Lloyd. And I think there's a few others now, but I think we were the first twins, maybe females, to get in. But yeah.
Excellent. And this isn't your first. I mean, you've done the Firies Climb before.
Yes, we've done the Firies Climb before. Or I have. Courtney hasn't.
I haven't. This is my first time.
Yeah. And yeah, that was love to be involved with that. That was raising as much funds as possible, as well as trying to get as fast up the stairs. This was a completely different thing, but all to try and raise funds for MND. Yeah.
And I understand that you raised the most individual. You were the highest fundraised firefighter for the last climb, weren't you?
Yeah, it was for the Sydney Tower. I think around 20,000. We did a lot of fundraising events, marathon row events, and people got behind it. Probably a little bit less time to do the fundraising for this, but yeah, we still raised a good amount of money this year.
Incredible. And I understand as well, I know you've been up all night, you're just smashing a beer, which is the exactly appropriate thing to do after such a marathon effort. You have a personal connection to MND. What's that?
My father-in-law had motor neuron disease, and he passed away a few years back, and he fought for many years with this horrible disease, and it's not nice. It's something that we witnessed in Courtney firsthand, and we don't want anyone to go through any of that. And so we just want to contribute to Dom at Macquarie University to find a cure. That's what we want. We don't want anyone to be living with this disease at all.
Yeah, it's such an ugly thing. But look, thanks. Get some rest. It was such a privilege to share some laps with you, and well done, bloody well done.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
All right, so who have I got here today?
I'm Fionn. What? And you are?
I'm Ali. And I hear that you've done an amazing job today of not just today, of fundraising for MND. What made you want to do that?
Well, my great-grandfather died of motor neuron disease, so I kind of wanted to do this in his honour, and also it's just a fun way to exercise and see people. Yeah.
You're an absolute champion. And tell me, how much did you raise for MND, and how did you do it?
I raised $1,075. I just asked everyone who I knew, because I knew they'd be happy to donate because it's such a good cause.
Cool. And so you raised $1,000. And how old are you?
I am 9 turning 10.
Amazing. So you've raised more than $100 for each year of your age.
Yeah.
And tell me, Fionn, when did you start on the stairs?
I started at around 7:40 in the morning.
How many laps did you do?
I did 7.5 laps.
Holy moly. So that's 2 Ks each time. So that's about 14, nearly probably 15 Ks, I'd say. Have you gone that far before?
No, that was the furthest I've ever run by a while.
And there's about 1,000 stairs up, so that's about 1,500 stairs probably that you've climbed. Did you do any training for this?
No, not really. I'm just generally, I really like running. It's my sport. I had zones last week, so I was pretty psyched, and I'm at my fittest, so I just gave it a shot.
Oh, you are amazing. I can't wait to see you here in years to come, because I think we're going to see even more amazing things from you, Fionn. Thank you so much for what you've done this weekend. You are an absolute champion, and I'm sure your great-grandfather would be very proud of you.
Yeah, it's just so good. I'm really happy with myself, and I think I did what I needed. And yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Well done.
Right, well, we're here with it's the start and the end, isn't it? It's Matt and Gavin, the original organizer, and taking it forward, the current organizer of the Firies Climb for MND. Last words, Gavin, how have you found it?
Inspiring again, and it's just an affirmation of what we're doing is right, and the sense of community and how strong our community is just absolutely blows me away every single time. I can't put it into words how good it is, Matt. It's just unreal.
I have just felt the whole weekend that this event has just got such a beautiful vibe about it. There's so many really awesome people that I've met, and I really feel as though we're at that point of inflection where from here it'll just explode and just become like a destination event that people want to be part of, that just raises enormous amounts of money for a good cause. And I really feel like we're right at that point now. I'm so proud of it. I'm really, really proud to see it take on new direction and be under someone that's so authentic and so genuine, because that has so much impact on what people want to give to it in their energy and their money and all of that stuff. So I'm so stoked. I'm genuinely so stoked. I'm so proud of you, Gav.
Thank you, bro.
Oh, I don't even know where to go with that. It's exactly that, both of those things. And coming from Firies, who already do so much for our communities, I feel like we should be giving to you guys. But the fact that everyone's coming together to raise funds for people doing it really tough is just so heartening. It's been really great spending time with you both and everybody else here.
Can I say something to you two? Thank you, you two, for coming across to the ditch, from the ditch over to our side. So good to have you here. Can I book you again for next year? Is that okay?
I'm going to say it on the podcast. I was thinking, I'd do this for 24 hours. Absolutely. And it doesn't feel... No, I heard it, and it doesn't feel... It feels like a massive challenge, but it doesn't like it's something that I would give my... I could spend 24 hours doing that.
See you next year, I'll bring up that builder mate of mine.
Yeah, all right. Let's. I don't feel like I'd have nightmares. And we were already talking, Rebecca and I, about we won't show up alone. So hopefully we'll bring some Kiwis over with us, because and that's the thing too. Like, we talk about it being the Firies Climb at MND. Like, for all you trail runners listening to this, we're in trail running nirvana, trail running utopia, and getting to hammer up and down those stairs is, if you're a trail runner, it's the best thing ever. It is the best thing ever. Oh, we've already had him on.
Oh, you have.
Oh, we've had him on.
Can we get some last words with Fionn?
Okay, again, back on the podcast. Fionn, last words go to you, man.
I just really want to say thanks to Gavin for organising this, and all of the other Firies. And I just think it's so good. Yeah.
There we go. We'll leave it there. See you in the Blue Mountains next year.
Great stuff. Okay, on with our second chat, the one I missed out on because they had babysitting issues. Not duties, sorry, they had babysitting issues. But yeah, tell us about that one, Matt.
Well, look, there's more bloody firefighters in this episode that you can shake a stick at. I had the pleasure of sitting down at home with Helen, Waterworth and Chris Newsome from his and hers endurance events KITZ when they swung through on their way from Whangarei to the Great Naseby water race. Love these people. They're inspiring, down-to-earth legends who have devoted most of their adult life to serving their community as members of the New Zealand Fire Service. And now they're serving the trail running community with their business, which is essentially to act as your running event concierges. And also, as if that's not punishing enough, they've decided to become event directors, not only with King's Backyard, where the record for most laps on New Zealand soil was broken this year, and with the Whangārei 512 Challenge. Add to that, they're no slouches at endurance events themselves. with Chris having won the River Run Backyard in its inaugural year, and Helen just back from a PB of 32 laps at Clint Eastwood in Australia. And, there's also quite a bit of Antarctic chat in this podcast if you're interested. So, let's crack on and let this conversation speak for itself. I'm here with Helen and Chris from His and Hers Endurance Events KITZ. How are you both?
We're good. Thanks, Matt. Good to be here.
Yeah, good, man. Yeah, it's really good to be here.
Long drive from Whangarei?
It can be, north of Whangarei, Brenderwins, traffic, Monday.
Yeah, just good old Auckland traffic, eh? Come down, hit the old motorway and come to a grinding halt, eh? It's, not really my cup of tea. I get frustrated sitting through a set of lights back home.
I guess that's the thing, isn't it? And we have had a massive crash. A massive crash on the motorway, so it's closed. But I understand you guys have got a mighty journey ahead of you. You're off down to Queenstown.
Naseby.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow.
But unlike past, and we'll get to that, but like in the past when you've been here, you've had a massive trailer on the back, but you're not doing that now.
Nah, we tried that for a while and the novelty wore off pretty quick, bro. So we bought another trailer and we've got it down the South Island now in Cromwell. So yeah, we'll just fly out of here tomorrow to Queenstown and pick it up and head on up to Naseby. Yeah.
Now, what would you be bringing such a massive trailer for? What are you taking to Naseby? Let's get to the nub. You came up with a genius idea, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a year now and people are probably sick of hearing our voices. We've got kits for runners that go for longer than generally 8 hours, 12 hours, and ideally 24. And it's catered to the travelling runners so that we can take, the logistics out of their event. So we turn up, we put up a gazebo, we put the chair, the table, the wall hanger, we set it up and we pack it down for people. And for Naseby, actually, I think we've got 7 hires, which is our first time down there. And so, yeah, we'll bring the trailer and it's got all that good stuff in it and heating and lighting and, yeah.
I mean, that's one of the main things, isn't it? Like you set off to do any kind of endurance event. The running of it, the training and the running, that's almost the easy part. Yeah. It's like how you set things up. I mean, what was the impetus behind this idea?
Yeah, it was just based off what we were doing, to be honest, man. Like we were travelling here, there, and everywhere for running, and it was actually when we went to Dead Cow in 2023, going over there, and we didn't have any gear, so we had to organise it from New Zealand, and then had taken another day off work, essentially either side of the event. Didn't know when when Hell's was going to finish, so. Yeah, and then we just came back and then we'd come off being at God Zone and we had to do the same down there at the bottom of the South Island. We travelled from Whangarei and had to organise gear and we picked it up pretty much Christchurch through to Queenstown and just got monotonous, like it just was.
It's a good word.
Yeah. It's drawn out, like, because time you stop and you load and then you stop again, a half day trip turns into a whole day and potentially maybe a bit longer. And then, and it's a bit of an effort, like, to go and set it all up and pick all that stuff up before your event. And so, we just came back and we're sitting in a tent in Crazies last year and we floated this idea past local lads, Sean Collins and Chris McDonald, and they told a couple of other people about 2 o'clock in the morning. We were sitting there after we'd finished the backyard, and here we are now. Yeah, a year after, and it's where the kit started. It was born and bred. And
to your knowledge, and I almost don't want to. It's like you blow up your favorite spot. You like your favorite trailer, your favorite beach break, or your favorite whatever. I mean, to my knowledge, are you guys one of the only companies, certainly the only company in Australasia that's offering this?
Yeah, that we know of. I mean, there's hire companies that you can collect all the gear from individually, but to do the service that we're offering, no, we are the only ones. So, yeah, it's very cool.
You're like a backyard concierge.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, we tailored ourselves to the backyard, and the backyard suits us well, and the runners. But we have been aid stations for other events, and we're doing Blue Lake 24 in September, which we've got a huge amount of hires, and that's worked out really well. So we're excited for things like that, and just being open to anything.
I imagine, and you can be, you've been part of people's stories. It's not, again, that's not for nothing. It's not a small amount of effort. The business that you've decided to get into, right? Like, it's cutting to the chase. Any horror stories you ever had to like burn an easy up or anything?
It's funny, like, I mean, outsiders looking in and all the socials, it seems like we've cracked it and we're doing well.
Yeah.
And I'll be really honest with you, like, we still suffer from imposter syndrome. Like, we are just Hells and Chris from the north, and like cheers to that. And I think what we're finding now, Google Maps is still on. You have arrived. I think we chucked all our own personal money into it, and now it's been a huge outlay, and the travel costs, because we're at Whangarei as well, things are starting to catch up with us, and going forward we've had to make changes and message all the race directors who have been extremely supportive, and without their help we wouldn't be here, but we'll be doing minimum hires and cut off dates now and stuff like that. So horror stories, not so much, just a lot of learnings. Like we've probably made a loss at a majority of all the events we've attended, but we had worked that out so that we could be there and get our name out there, and word of mouth and that sort of thing. But we've had to, on the fly, do some quick thinking, especially at Crazies in July. Just Chris and I are still learning and doing crash courses in accounting, marketing, and all that good stuff. Just people jumping in and helping. We know now where our limit's at, and so we'll probably stick to that until we expand or whatever we do.
Because I guess, I mean, and that's the thing, isn't it? There's a lot of people putting a lot of there's a lot of humanity in each one of those easy ups, right? For potentially for easy up. Not so. Well, the most ironically named of all the ups, isn't it? Like the person who invented that, there's a special place in hell for them, I'm sure. Like I know what we'll do. But I mean, both of your stories before this, I mean, what was your first, the backyards, and that's certainly not all you're about, but what was your kind of first taste of getting into the ultra endurance space?
Well, shout out to Adam Keane from Aerobic Edge. I was lucky enough actually to go through a Revenant stint where I met Steve, Tripp, Chris Taylor, and the likes of Adam, and came on with Aerobic Edge, and it just so happened that they were all part of that backyard scene with Sean Collins when he brought it to New Zealand, I think 2019, and the thought process was come try Riverhead, and so that's actually where I met you, and you helped me after my 20 hours. I'll let you explain that one, but that was my first taste, and then after that you're hooked. Because it's affordable, it's the cheapest way to get into an endurance event. The community, you're seeing the same run. I mean, we could talk about this till the cows come home, and we have. My mum crewed me, which was super special, and just finding that limit and then wanting to find that limit every time is pushing your boundaries. So that was my introduction, and then Chris.
My introduction to it was. For the backyard was Riverhead, that 2023 in the backyard. But I tackled the Taupo 100 in 2022. It was my first ultra.
Wow.
Hadn't done any other distance before, and decided be my first crack at something doing a point run, and signed up to that one, and managed to get it done. So, and then from there we went into the backyard and obviously Revenant and God Zone, and so that's where the ultra running sort of started for us.
Back. And I understand, I mean, you had some coaching support obviously from Helen, who was a bit sort of further along, but there was a bit of a peculiarity there because you were in Antarctica, Helen.
No running outside there. And so Chris actually reached out to me and said, oh, I'm going to give Revenant a crack, and you've done it once or twice and I'd like to know how. And it actually kept me kind of sane. And I would go and train all day on the treadmill and then sit down and write him programs and send them home. And being the Taupo Hundi, being a taste test of what it's like to really go through it. And I actually met him off the plane and saw him finish his 100K in Taupo.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's. And so you're both firefighters at the time.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And that's what you were doing down there, obviously.
Yes, yeah, working for the Americans as a firefighter.
What was that process like? What was that?
It was
process like?
it was that you have to cross your T's and dot your I's. There was vaccines. There's a lot of medicals. It's not easy actually. It's quite a process, and even then you've got pretty extensive interviews. But they take care of everything else, and I had to isolate 14 days on a golf course in Christchurch before flying out.
I guess that was sort of peak kind of COVID,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yep. And so they were pretty worried about having COVID down there on the ice, because once you're down there, and the health professionals can only do so much. And
What was that like? I mean, wintering over in Antarctica, you were one of very few people. I mean, talk about, you can keep finishing a Barclay. I mean, that's a cool story, but like you wintered over in Antarctica. What was that like?
8 months on ice is what it was. It was 123 people, and summer they have something like 3,000, 4,000. Being with the Americans was really neat. They're super polite. Opening the door, shutting the door for you, and calling you ma'am, and I appreciate you. Love that. I brought that home. I love it. No, it was cool. The novelty does wear off, and I think I've banged on about that a few times. But the auroras and the penguins, and 3 months of darkness. That's a real test of the mental strength, and it's the people that make it as well. And I think it's an attitude. But it was good to come home and see colours and see animals and children, and just
expose your son, expose your
fruit and vegetables, and humidity. Wow. There's zero humidity, just things you don't think about.
And so you literally jumped off the plane.
Mm-hmm.
And
I arrived back home in October, and I made my way to Taupo, and saw Chris finish his 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
Must have been. And how did that go? How was your first sort of foray into running, doing 100 kilometre run? How was that?
Yeah, no, it was good, man. Like, I guess I didn't really know what to expect, right? Because I'd never done any other distance, or, I just run to keep fit for sport I'd played prior and for work. So, I had no real expectation. I thought I'd trained pretty well going into it. For what knowledge I had, I was pretty green and naive. And I got to it's about the 40k mark. There's a bit of a climb there. Then got on the road, and houses was there at the 42k aid station, I think it was. And then met my sister was down there as well, that was pretty cool. It was pretty special to have her there. And that 50 to 70k mark or 74k mark, whatever it was a bit of a slog. That's when the old mental came in, bro. It was a few moments there I was like, be careful what I say here, but I was like, what am I doing here? And then believe it or not, I was about the 60k mark. I caught up to a guy. I sort of had him in my sights, and I was sort of using him as a pacer, and we just got yarning, and it's the infamous, what is now that I know, the infamous Murray Taylor.
Right.
Oh, Muzza. So, and that was awesome, made a friend pretty much, and we got through, it was about a 10, 12k stretch there together, and we just sort of, so that was cool. And that, then Hels was there to pace me for the last 20, 24, 25k, whatever it was, and I was pretty broken at 90 odd k. She's got a pretty good photo of me down on one knee at the last aid station. But just getting it done, and then that's what you take away from that. I really enjoyed, especially coming into that shoot at the end, everyone's there supporting it, and all the way along, it was like a atmosphere you can't recreate because everyone's there and supporting you, and people yelling out to you. It was cool, man. Like it's humbling, and it's an awesome community to be a part of, so that was my introduction to it, and I guess I just finished, and I was sore and broken for a few days, but it's it leaves you wanting more, to go back, and the running's like the good. It's part of it, but it's the community around it too, bro. The people you meet, and then the atmosphere, and everyone supporting everyone there for the right reason, I guess is what I'm trying to say, I suppose. Yeah. So that's what I love about it, and then you just get the bug and you just want to do it again and again and again. And I just like pushing myself, like finding new limits. And
it's that itch, isn't it? And it's that, you're so right. I remember the first time I ever completed an ultra distance event, and two people, Jeremy Waite and Ryan Cook, and they came in a bit ahead of me, and I came down the chute, and just the kind of, and I was like, maybe I let myself down, or I didn't go fast enough, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do this, because it's the type of self-sabotaging human being that I am. But I just remember there just being so happy for me, and it was just that sort of mutual, like, there was nothing but just like, we did this, we're really happy. Yeah, and it was just, it sticks to you, like it.
Oh, yeah, man, 100%. I'd finished, and then I was stoked with finishing, and I just turned around. All I wanted to see was Murray come in, because we'd built that bond. I'd never met the guy before, right? And he'd never met me. And I just stood there. We stood at the end of the shoot, and I was just like, I want to stay here until he finishes. I want to go and see him, and so that, and that's what it's about.
Isn't it funny? We've all been in different sort of fields, but we've all been in fields where you form quite tight bonds with people, and they're very intimate bonds, and they're born out of, like, basically it's you a struggle, and it's actually you depending on that person for your life at times. And isn't it incredible how you can? I've never found that anywhere else apart from running.
Yeah,
you can make that bond, that intimate bond. It's something that
I couldn't agree more.
And it's so strange that you think it's something it's just running, and yeah, it's so much more. I wonder what that's about. You're talking to the mic.
Sorry.
That's all right. So, I mean, what are you up to? So, you're running this weekend, Chris?
Yeah. Stitched up, all right. Yeah.
How are you stitched up?
Yeah, we do. We stitch each other up. It's a bit of a running joke, really, in the old house. Yeah, literally a running joke. Yeah. Sort of get up in the morning and get out and have a coffee, and then as you walk out the door, one of us will say, check your emails. Yeah, no true word. And then you're like, what's it now?
I've been into it.
Yeah, so Hal's had signed up for Naseby. She'd signed up for the 200 miler originally. And things changed. And then I said, I'll come down and run with you to do the 100 miler.
Mm-hmm.
And then things changed again, and now I'm running it solo, and she's going to crew me. So start on Friday. Yeah, Friday morning, and go for a bit of a stroll and try and get a few Ks under the belt.
I mean, it looks like it. I've not been down there. Eugene went down last year. He was entered in the 100 and in the 100 mile, and his hip gave way, and so he knocked 100k out. And I know Harry, a close friend of ours, has been down. He's done the 100 mile, and he's down there for the 100k. It's a really special event, hey? Like it's unique.
Yeah, unique. Yeah. And we've heard some awesome things about it. We just want to be there. And it's the same. It comes back to the running's like the side part of it. Like to be there. The 200 miles, they start Wednesday morning. Just be there, see them, and just be involved in it and the community around it. And Jill, the organizer, has been amazing for us for our business, and so just go down there and be a part of it and support it. And we got some really close friends that are going to be there. Just hang out with them again, and I'll go for a run, and Hels will try to stay warm. Yeah.
And I mean, Helen, how are you going after Clint Eastwood? You were just over in Australia. How was that?
Yeah, well, that's probably why I'm not running the 100-miler. I mean, it's about now I'm starting to get FOMO.
Yeah.
And I wish that I could, but the coach, Scotty B, might say something otherwise. So no, the 32 hours at Clint Eastwood was awesome. Like, I was super stoked with that, and recovered well. But yeah, I can't back that up with a Naseby effort. But yeah, being there, support crew's just as important and just as enjoyable. Yeah.
32 hours. That's a long time.
It's quite some time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Quite some time.
It's quite some time.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, I was talking to Pato recently, and you talk about how many of these you do, and do you get fatigue, and why do you stop, and why do we keep coming back? And I don't know why you come back, and it's like when you're in it and you're doing it, I'm not doing this again, like bloody hell, like, well, and then the next day, 2 days later, you're like, oh yeah, I want to do this again. So yeah, it's
certainly a format that it's intoxicating, even in the and for me, like, dipping my toe in, entered really impulsively as a training run, and was never going to do 32 hours at all. But I thought, geez, that was fun. It was more fun than I thought it would be.
100%, yeah.
And certainly the beginning, the first sort of, again, it sounds mental. So the first sort of 9 hours go by quite quickly.
Yeah.
It's just like a bunch of people hanging out, having a run.
Yeah. It becomes autopilot, and then you chat to people, you talk to something different, and you use music, and I don't know, the time does tick away pretty quick.
Wow. What did you in at the end, if I might be so bold?
What's that, sorry?
What did you in?
That question, I stopped. I stopped for whatever reason. I would tell you it was my feet at the time. This seems to be the issue every time in a backyard for me personally. My feet got really hot. I was taking my shoes off. We were icing them. We were doing that sort of stuff. It was hot over there, and it was quite exposed.
Right.
I think mentally it gets to a point where you're finding that boundary, and you've really got to find another level and find your why to carry on.
Right.
And it happens for me in a split moment where I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get back, and I haven't figured that one out.
Right.
So.
But I mean, 32. What's the? And I know that and I don't want to dip my toe into those waters. What's the New Zealand sort of woman's record for? Is it Jane at Dead Cow?
It's Julia Chamberlain with 40, and at Crazies currently.
Right.
And I know Katie Wright's got 50 at Biggs.
That's right. God, that seems like
ages
such a long
ago.
time ago.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I think we'll see that change again at Satellites in October.
Yeah.
I think they'll push past that.
Wow.
And Ota Matata. So, yeah.
And Chris, you went and bloody won one. You were the last person standing. What's it like? I mean, it was River Run, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I know you hate
was.
that, but you did actually do it, so I have to talk about it.
Yeah.
What's it like being on the start line when there's just two of you left? What's going through your mind?
We talked about this, and we'll talk to that question, but is that imposter syndrome since then? It's been real, and we talked about that, I have won one, but you don't. Yeah,
I know.
It's hard to I don't know. It's hard to explain. I was just the last one standing. That's how I view it. Getting back to the original question, it is interesting when there's just two of you left. You're like, oh yeah, okay, this is when the race starts, and we had a bit of a plan of what we're going to do, and you just don't know, because I'd never really run with Craig. So the hard case thing was in the morning, because I was keeping pretty well to my own sort of race throughout the night, and then there was 5 or 6 of us when the sun came up, and we all stood there one morning and goes, oh, who are you? And we were like, because we hadn't seen each other, because a few of these guys are like, they're just out the gate.
Right.
But then more sort of there's just a small group of you, and it's an interesting feeling. But it was just because you're on autopilot. That's why I'm just like, it's just another one to do, and you just go through the process. And we had a pretty what we thought was a robust sort of a plan. So and obviously it worked for that time. Yeah.
It's incredible you talk about that imposter syndrome. I had it certainly wasn't a backyard, but there was a time, and there was a different life, a podium finish in a race, and just the next year, when a friend of mine got that same position but knocked my time out of the water, I was like, yes. It just was like, I've never felt so happy about something being taken away.
Yeah. It's isn't that funny? It's really interesting, it's it is. I don't know, it's just the people you meet outside of at different events, you think, oh man, these guys are amazing. And it was only 28 hours, from what these other guys are doing, every other backyard. Yeah, so we talk about it, only. It's just you only did 28, but it is 28, and what is the everyone's got their own why, and that for us, well, for me, is definitely important. Having when it does get tough, you got to ask yourself tough questions. Go, why we're still going, why am I still going? Yeah, so I'll be honest with you, I'm looking forward to the next river run. Yeah, so the old check your emails thing comes up, and so
it's like event tennis, isn't it? Just watch the return of service.
She signed me up again, but she's gonna win it. She wants to come take the rock off me, so I'm stoked about that. Actually.
Yeah. That's I mean, God, it's. Do you think it has something to do with, and I don't say this in sort of a flattering term, do you think this has something to do with being a firefighter? Or both of you, that's you no longer do it, but that was your that's what you did. I mean, it's a profession like any of these kind of things. It's one based in sort of it's humbleness is sort of beaten into you, really, isn't it? Like you take pride in what you do, but you're not gonna stick your head up, and you just.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a Kiwi thing as well.
Yeah.
Definitely as a firefighter, you have to kind of keep your head screwed on and get on with the task at hand. And I do think it's a Kiwi thing, though. We don't, and we're quite quick to, if somebody puts himself out there, or I've done well, and they're we're what a cocky bastard.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting situation, because you might be super stoked with your effort, but you can't really blow your own horn sometimes.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that, you don't want somebody else to blow your horn, because you don't want to be seen as being put up on a pedestal when you don't believe you should be put there.
Yeah.
And then there's the people that are outside looking in, going, "Oh, he's going to win that race because he's they're going to go 40 hours," and they put that on you, and now all of a sudden you got that pressure.
Yeah.
So there's, I think, a few things that come into that.
Definitely.
Within the sport. But once you sign up to these things, it is competitive, isn't it? Whether you like it or not. Yeah.
I think we could learn a bit from the Australians in this regard. You see them at Tarawera, and they're always the one, like, and I've said it before, like, if you were doing the 50, you were doing the miler, and I was doing the 100K, Chris would say, I'm only doing the 50. I'd say, yeah, no, I'm only doing the 100. And you'd say, well, I'm doing the miler, but I'm really bad at it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the Aussies, like, run the 11K, they've got their medal on in town. They're stoked. They've gone home, had a shower, put the medal back on, going out for dinner. And there's actually something really cool about that. Like,
it is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe not, and no offense to our North American brethren and sisters, but maybe not to that level, but like,
you're going to find that, we could all be more like the Aussies, eh?
Yeah, it's cool to celebrate it, though, but, and Hels is right, like, we don't, I guess, celebrate success, and it is, you got to take those moments. But I guess it's why are you doing it? If you're doing it for yourself, or you're doing it for others, or you're doing it for validation, I don't know. Like, and that's on the individuals, I think. But it's no mean feat, like you say, what you just said there about the 50, the 100, I'm only doing this or I'm only doing that. When, Hel said this to me one day after an event, she's like, when did we start saying sorry for doing 70 odd Ks? Oh, look, sorry, I haven't done 70 today.
Absolutely.
When did that become
when did that become a thing?
Yeah. So you got to be, it's not your average person goes out and runs a 70K.
No.
And turning up, signing up to these events, and the training that goes into it, the sacrifice that, your supporters do. And so, definitely celebrate it. But I guess those that know me, I'm not on their social media, so I sit in the back corner. I'm just happy doing my own thing, Like a week ago, Hel said to me, I just didn't want to show this what I'm going to, and someone's put me down with a Naseby time, and I'm like,
oh yeah, no, let's not jinx it.
And we can jinx it, and I'm like,
he's put you in to win it.
Oh mate, and I'm like, who is this geezer? Oh yeah, like I'm not on the old social media, and I'm like, man, this guy does. I didn't even know this guy, and where's he come up with a time, and why does he think I'm going to win it? Like, I'm just going down there for a run, man. Like, gee, and that's the.
You could totally take him too, Bradley, for listening. You don't notice, mate.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, it's that. So people put in, and I think we are bad for it in New Zealand. And this is only my personal opinion from the outside looking in. Others put expectations on you, and that affects people's performance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They get, people get wound up, or they get in a bit of a tiz about it, because someone else is going, oh, this, this person here should do well, or so. I'm just, privileged enough to be able to go and do that distance. Like done the training, and some people can't. So I'm just, it's an opportunity, and I can get to go and run and hang out with some cool people, and what comes out the end of it, I'm happy to get it completed. As that's the way I see it. Yeah, personally. Yeah, I'm not there to try and set any records, man. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I'm rooting for you, man, and not content. And this is the wonderful thing, I think, about you two as well, because there is that notion of service to the sport, right? Like, so you are providing a service, but you are serving the athletes, and you are athletes yourself, and then you only go and bloody become race directors. And as someone who's done that too, I mean, whatever possessed you to do that? Because
yeah, well, you don't know what you don't know, Maddie?
You don't know what you don't know.
And it's like they say, be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. Well, shit, have we got it? Far out. And it's funny how much we wanted it, and we we've talked on other podcasts, and we bang on about these things, but it wasn't easy. As you think a 6.7, and it's not easy, and then it's everything else that comes with it. We were lucky enough with where we found ours in the end, just down the road from where we live, that all the holes in the Swiss cheese lined up. And so we have the backyard in Northland now, and
King's backyard. How
that's
good,
it.
eh?
Yeah, King's birthday weekend. I think it's 31st of May next year. So it's going to be King's birthday every year after that. So yeah.
What's it like standing? I mean, I know what it's like standing on the other side of the tape at a marathon, half marathon, ultra marathon. What's it like standing on this? And I do know what it's like at a backyard, but not as an organizer. What's that like?
Well, we decided it goes like this, and you can't see me because I've got the microphone, but it goes, running's the easiest thing, then support crew, and then organising and running your own event is the hardest thing. And like the Collins will tell you, and Chris McDonald and Alexa will tell you, we didn't expect it to go to 52 hours or Monday lunchtime. And so Chris and I we built this connection with the runners and didn't want to miss them coming in. And so we didn't sleep.
Wow.
And we didn't make a plan really, and we should have, and we've learned a lot from it. But yeah, being on that other side and wanting to be involved and be there for every individual. Lots of learnings.
52 hours for a first one, that's amazing, right? Like that's, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's not like you say, it goes into that whole thing around, and getting the record. That's amazing on New Zealand soil. That's amazing, but it does kind of it ranks an A. Like someone came to your race, and there was the field, and it was deep, 52 hours. First one up to that. I mean, relapse. That was incredible, and Sean had the first woman finisher at a backyard in the world, and that was amazing. But that was 30 hours. Just incredible how the progression.
Yeah, it was. Just touching on Halsey, we did learn a lot, and it's cool to put on an event. It's epic. And people in the north have been asking for something.
It's the sleeping giant, hey, Northland.
Yeah, it really is, man. Like it's I always refer to it as the forgotten part of the country. I might be a little bit biased there, but it's and there's some great athletes up there. So we wanted to sort of bring something and give them something to try their hand at. So yeah, we're a little bit biased when we set the course. So obviously we run it multiple times ourselves, and we sort of thought it had potential for around that 40 to get people onto the satellite team that wanted to come. But yeah, we probably didn't foresee 52. It was epic. It was epic. And we go back to what Halsey, like we didn't sleep, but there was a reason for that. Like we just wanted to see these guys keep going, going, man. Like it was cool. We built that rapport with them, and it's as tired as we were, they were tired as well. But when you see them come in, it's just uplifting, the energy, and then they go back out, and it got really well supported on that Monday from the locals. Everyone came up. It was awesome, man. Like there was, we probably had 100, 150 people just turning up.
Well, that's Northland, though, eh?
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, and for those who aren't from the north or from New Zealand, I mean, it's one of the best parts of the country, and it's like being up at Helena Bay and sort of running around going like, "There's no one up there."
Yeah, man. Yeah, go for a 20K and not run into anyone. Yeah, on the coast.
Yeah, just going like I was like, there's roads and shit. The outlines, there's no one here. Yeah, just incredible. You also Whangarei 512. I mean, tell us about that.
Yeah, that was real interesting. That one, that was cool, man. Like, yeah, that was cool. That was an epic little event or challenge we call it. Just based off a training program that we'd self-made for training for Revenant, just to try and get a bit of verdant, because obviously we're vertically challenged unless you do repeats up there. So yeah, we put it together and put it out to the locals, thinking that if we got sort of 10, 15 people interested, we'd be pretty happy. And we ended up with 80 odd people signing up.
So this was a time sort of between the time period, it was between January and April, wasn't it? And
yeah, first of Jan to end of April. Yeah, this year just been. Yeah, so we had that window. We had this. I think we did it last year. We did it on New Year's Day. We thought, oh, what a cool way to start the new year! Is go and have a crack at it. We didn't. Can't remember why we didn't do it this year, but yeah, So yeah, that was the challenge. Yeah, five of the local highest peaks, mountains. So it was about 2,330 meters of vert for the day, 28.5K if you're stuck to the track, and depending on what watch you had on. yeah. And so you had to get it completed within 12 hours. That includes your drive time in between. We set it so it was achievable for everyone. We had it over that time frame, so we catered to everyone. If the weather wasn't great, for shift workers, for people that were on holiday, like instead of having an event on one set day that people can't make or need time off work, I guess yourself alike, when you work shift work, there's certain things you can and can't do. When events come around, so we thought, we'll try and negate that, and that was pretty cool because that opened it up to a lot of other people. So yeah, it was it went off, man. It was epic, and just to see the stories that we got, from all the competitors and training on, they were out training, and they'd send us, or not myself, but send it to Hells on the on Instagram and that the stories and the training, and that was super rewarding for us. Like we're getting locals out on tracks that they didn't even know were there.
Yeah, right.
Opening it up to people outside of Northland as well, man. Like we had South Islanders, we had an Australian run it. Yeah, after Tarawera. Yeah, had a group from Auckland come up and do it. So no, it was epic, man. It was pretty cool, and just see the locals out there to doing it. We had this idea that this is what we did, and didn't think that anyone else would be really that interested in it, and yeah, everyone bought into it. So that was super rewarding, man. It was awesome.
And it's amazing when you sort of advocate for where you live, and there is that thing, the further up the country you go, the less big mountains, air quotes, or the less vert or whatever, but you got to rep where you live.
100%. And actually there's a huge push at the moment. There's run clubs popping up everywhere.
I know.
KITZ, Kaitaia. There's a run adjacent podcast dedicated to the local running groups, and lots of running groups popping up, and I guess there's the need's been seen and people are banding together, and yeah.
How good is that, hey? Like a podcast centered on running in Northland. Like that is epic. Yeah. That is so good.
Yeah, it is. It is cool. It is very cool.
Running, what they say, rising tide lifts all the boats, eh? It's just that
that's
little...
absolutely right. Yeah.
And we love a good per capita success story, don't we? Yes! Per capita. We're knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
Look, plans for the future. Have you got anything else under your hat that you care to share in terms of events?
We've made no secret that we've put ourselves out there to the Australians in regards to our KITZ. We're going to be at Dead Cow Gully, confirmed June next year. We've also reached out to some other backyards within the Queensland district, which suits us quite well because our supplier is based in Brisbane.
Right.
So we're getting some positive feedback from there. Event-wise, we might have a few things up our sleeve. We're definitely working with some people at the moment to carry on bringing the good stuff. And, but we want to do what we're doing well. And just make sure we do that before we try and put our finger in too many pies. We're currently actually building a few decks and doing that sort of stuff just to keep the money coming in. And we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
It's funny, there's no one in this kind of, no one's going to get rich, eh?
No.
But except for podcasting, but no, but the rewards are, reward is just that juice is worth a squeeze. Look, I want to get you out the door. You're gonna do a shake up, but look, let's have a greatest run ever from both of you.
I lost sleep over this last night, Matt.
I'm glad.
Yeah. Oh, we were like lights out, and then there was silence, and then Chris turns to me and he goes, "Shit, what's your greatest run ever?" And I lied awake, like actually anxiety about it. No, there's so many, and like we joked about this because every run's great, and Noose will tell you that the greatest one's still coming. But I'll wrap mine up real quick because we could be here all day long. But actually mine comes to an adventure race, and it's probably not even about me, but just because I was in the team at the time. We did the last God Zone ever. It was in Fiordland. Shout out to Bobby Hunn, who was our team leader, and Kyle Sampson from America. He actually came off the ice with me. Chris here was our lead navigator, and we're 3-4 days deep into, a 7-8 day adventure race, and it was, a kilometre and an hour sort of travel. And we'd all kind of hunkered into this deep, deep bush, and there was a congregation of other teams. And there were two things happening here. We were all collecting water from the creek, and we were exhausted. None of the times were matching up with distances. We'd all run out of water. We were hungry. We were tired. We'd been up for maybe 15 minutes sleep over 3 days, and we're bashed. You'd lean on a tree, the whole tree would fall over. It's the sort of terrain you're in. And there's one group that were quite confident, made up of maybe 3 or 4 teams. And it's competitive at this point, and everyone's still in the race. And there were 2 decisions to make, and they were going to take this route. And Chris says to the team, and there's a bunch of Australians in their 50s, welcome to Fiordland. They had a rude awakening. But Chris said, hey, look, I think we can go this way.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a shortcut. And we're all so tired. We're like, man, like the other team seemed pretty confident and they want to go this way. Should we all band together and go? And it was one of these moments where you either take the lead and you back your navigator and you go and follow him, even though the majority of people are turning the other way.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went, nah, Chris is confident. Like, we were looking over the maps, we made a decision, and it was hard. It was hard watching all these really motivated, looked like they'd done this before sort of group of people, 12, 16 people taking off down a different direction, and we start bushwhacking. Like, we start climbing hand over fist, falling, scraping, whatever you want to call it. You just leaves in your face. Everyone went dead quiet, and we're through the struggle climbing for a good hour and a half, like introducing ourselves to the Australians and having a good old laugh and not sure how this is going to turn out. Then we break the tree line. And it's sunny. It's quiet, the afternoon sun, and you're looking around at the most magnificent New Zealand terrain you'll ever see. You can actually see the finish line in the distance.
Oh, wow.
At Riverton. And we look back and you see the group of people, miles and miles, little ants on the horizon, way behind us. And it was just that feeling, because we hadn't had a lot of wins to that point.
Right.
And we just had cracked, and the elation from the Australians and us, it was just that feeling, you could never get it back.
Wow. And no pressure for you, Chris, with Bobby Hunn being your team leader.
Yeah.
Because he's had some experience navigating off-road, one would think.
Yeah, it was, that was a good time.
Fantastic. And what about you? You got one? Or are you going to say, no, the greatest run ever hasn't happened yet?
That hasn't happened yet. No, that's up there. We I guess we did talk about this. Taupo was up there. It's hard to put a picker run, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, the one that probably sticks out for me is the one we did this year, Hels and I. We saw a weather window and went in, and we'd always wanted to do it. And it was to go and do all the dock huts in the Kawika forest. And yeah, we had a week, and we had a weather window there. We looked at it and we go, yeah, let's go and do it. So we just packed our packs and we went and fast packed it. And yeah, that was to get that done in 4.5 days, and to make the flight out was pretty special. Was you really when you've got a deadline to make and you got to be somewhere, you sort of push yourself and you get yourself up off the ground and keep going. So we managed to knock that off, and I'm not sure if it'd been done before. And so yeah, it was 4.5 days of
Type 2 fun.
Type 2 fun, yeah. Noodles, yeah. It's funny what you do for fun, eh? Yeah, you go bash yourself around. That's what. Yeah, it's up there. We had everything through us. We had the heat. It was cold. We had the wind. We had sleet. We had whiteout.
Wow.
It was a pretty special moment to get down to that hut and see a helicopter about an hour later turn up, and he was probably more excited to see us. We got out, and all he wanted to know was, "Oh, how'd you guys get on? Did you do it?" And it's like, yeah. So that was probably to date is one of my gross runs. Yeah. Well, fast packing.
Yeah. I mean, it's wow. What an adventure. Look, thank you both. It's such a privilege to have you here. And travel well and go well at Naseby, Chris. No pressure. We'll hopefully see you again real soon.
Yeah, man. No, thanks very much for having us, man. It's a privilege, friend first, and so we're just stoked to be in every yarn. Really, it's it's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks, Maddie. I have to say, the the invite onto DCR is like, it's a big one, right? Because being in the run community for so long, it's like that's the pinnacle for us. Oh my God. You know, you and Eugene say that you've made it every time at the start of your podcast, and we were like, we've made it. You know, this is like, it's one of those moments of life you say that, you know, we should all like enjoy our success. Well, this is one of those moments for us. We'll drive away from here being like, wow, we actually just went on Dirt Church Radio. Because otherwise, you know, it's the next thing, it's the next thing, and it's the next thing. So, no, we really appreciate it, and we hope you enjoy, the Blue Mountains, and you fly Wednesday.
So
we'll be
excited.
watching.
Yeah.
So enjoy that.
Yep, I will, and thank you.
There we go.
How'd they get on at Naseby?
They got on at Naseby well. I mean, I don't think they had to burn any easy ups. And Chris, I think he definitely went sub 24. I can't remember his time exactly.
There was some huge wins out at Naseby this year. I imagine the easy ups were taking a punishing from the wind. Wow. It looked like chaos at one point there. I saw some photos from Naseby. But amazing. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and I mean, support your local race directors. And if you are in the, if you're at Blue Lake, if you're at any of these, the popularity, the multi-day events is really, really getting up. Consider using their service. They're really cool people. So, yeah, thank you very much. And thank you to those listening. We're on social media at Dirt Church Radio. You can email us at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. Now, don't forget to sign up for the new podcast. Well, it's not new anymore. The Aid Station podcast and newsletter.
Don't forget to send in your greatest run ever to dirtchurchradio@gmail.com, and you can have a read of them on the website and get inspired yourself. And have a look at some people send in pictures too, and I'll put those up when we get them.
Thanks to our supporters for the Faster, Currans and Squad Run, and to our Substack subscribers and the DCR Aid Station crew. Stay tuned for our show in 2 weeks when we have another great guest lined up, and check out the DCR Aid Station next week.
Hei konei. Hei konau.
Thanks, Rigby.